What's going on, everybody? This is Black Men Sundays. I'm your host, Corie Sylvester Murray, and we're talking about generational wealth, finance, business, and of course, mental health.
It's a Black Man Sunday. Time to put all childish things away. I refuse to be the man I was yesterday. Gotta put my best foot forward and elevate.
Can you believe it? We're only a few days from the new year. We all need some motivation. So what did I do? I brought on JR McIntyre. This brother's AKA the Hood Motivator on Instagram. This brother's a motivational speaker, a life coach, an author, and a 14-year U.S. combat veteran. And this brother just got his master's degree and he's working on his doctorate. So without further ado, JR McIntyre, my brother, welcome to Black Men Sundays. How you doing?
How you guys doing, man? It's nice to meet you. Nice to be on here. I know I've been so super busy. I was supposed to be on here early in the year, but I'm grateful to be on today. You know, it's God's plan. You know, at the end of the day, you know, you can't run from that. So I'm here, and I'm here to spread love and light and positivity, and bless your platform, and you bless me. I'm happy to be here.
Definitely, man. And I just remember I met you a couple months ago at the XL Summit in Orlando when they were doing the barbershop conversation. And you just really touched me with that. So I made sure I had to come up and meet you. And I'm glad that you had time to come on Black Men Sundays. But let's go on and get started, man. First off, let's talk about the veterans that are transitioning from the military now.
I speak to a lot of the transitional veteran companies. Shout out to Seven Eagle. Shout out to Allegiant Vets. Shout out to Vets to Project Management. I speak to a lot of them transitional veterans, about 1,000 veterans I speak to a month, right? And, you know, it was different. It's different now to when I got out. I retired in 2016. You know, they didn't have them type of programs where a veteran, someone that was getting out, can go into these programs and get a job and get a skill set and then venture off into the real world, right? So I'm blessed that they have them programs, but I did it totally different. I got out and I tried to find my way. You know, I fell a lot of times. I didn't get my mental right. A lot of us that got out the military, you know, that didn't pass away out there in the in Iraq and Afghanistan, you know, they passed away here mentally. You know, so mentally, you know, you got to make sure that you take care of yourself first. And I tell a lot of veterans, you got to get in front of your ugly. You know, a lot of them did 10, 15, 20, 30 years in the military, and they want to continue to serve. The next thing you do after that is you have to serve yourself. You have to make sure that you put yourself first. Start saying no to a lot of things. In a human language, we taught that no is bad, but no is actually good. It saves us from getting into trouble and doing things emotionally that we don't understand. And you got to have a good emotional IQ. And that's what I tell our veterans. That's what I tell our youth. And that's what I tell my clients, because I'm a life coach. Make sure you have a good emotional IQ, veterans especially, because if you did all that wartime or you just did all them years in the military, you are programmed. You wore that uniform every day. You served from PT hours from 5:30 to 5 o'clock. A lot of them deployed. A lot of them went from duty station to duty station. And also too, make sure that when you take care of your mental and you have kids, take care of your kids' mental. I was a single parent, so I was deploying back to back to back. And I had my oldest daughter. She's the reason why I got in the Army. Jaylani, my middle child, is the reason why I stayed, because I wanted to have a son, because I already had did 2 deployments, lost a bunch of good dudes. And then I had my last kid that made me stay. But at the end of the day, I was affecting their mental, because I would have to come back from all that combat and reintroduce myself to them as a single father. I wasn't married, so I was destroying myself, not knowing that I was destroying them. So when I got out and I got help and I did all that inpatient work, ayahuasca, Reiki, bufo, hugging old trees, and everything like that, then I started to help myself. Then I helped my kids. My son, right now, in the next 90 days, he'll be joining the military to go serve his own journey and do what we have to do. So shout out to him.
Great information, man. And I just want to take it back, man. Let's tell us about yourself and also why did you even enlist in the military?
Wow, I come from California, born and raised Long Beach. You see it on my top. I rep it well. My mother, she died of AIDS when I was 9 years old, and my mother was, she was on drugs, and she also gang banged. I saw a lot of gang violence. I saw a lot of torture, a lot of things in California that a kid should never see. But I'm grateful that I saw that because it made me the soldier that I am today. Right. But so I wanted to leave California and I wanted to make a way for myself, but I was still getting caught in the spider webs, gang banging, selling weed, doing all these things after. And my dad's a preacher, so check it out. So I was running away from my gift. I already knew how to speak, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go on the other side of the railroad tracks and hang with my cousins and gang bang and my sister and be active. You know what I'm saying? Then it got me caught up, went to jail, then the towers fell. And when the towers fell, I said, I need to do something. And I was holding my daughter in my arms when the towers fell. And I said, I got to go do something about my life. And 2 weeks after I got out of the county jail, I went into the United States Army in 2002.
At what point did you realize that you had a voice to inspire others?
I knew as a kid, my dad was already grooming me. He had me listening to Zig Ziglar. My dad was a bishop. My grandfathers were both ministers, so I saw it. I grew up in the church, but I didn't want to follow their footsteps. I think their shoes was too heavy, and that was way too much for me. My dad started his own church: 2 people, 5 people, 25 people. The family members, people leaving, people. It's politics in the church. People don't understand it. I'm not going to even go there. It's a lot of politics in the church, especially if it's family led by other families, right? So I saw my dad doing that. Then on the weekends, he used to go feed the homeless on Skid Row, where my mother used to live, where I used to be with my mama on Skid Row. So it was a full circle. So I started seeing that, and started seeing my dad on the weekends go preach on the corner, set the ladder up, get on top of the ladder, and just start preaching. People coming around, bums would spit on him, would try to knock the ladder over. I'm a little boy, and I'm checking this out. I'm like, this world is cruel, right? I already lost my mom, so I'm like, man, I don't want to do none of this stuff right here, right? But I knew I had the voice when I went through my lowest times after getting out the military and failing in entrepreneurship before I had my master's, that God was like, speak life into yourself. And when I started to heal myself again, I almost committed suicide for the fourth time. And I started to speak life for myself. Then I started to go viral. Then I understood that my serving never stopped. God never wanted me to do that over there. He wanted me to use my voice to interject positivity back into the youth.
And one thing about Black Men Sundays, our show, we talk about wealth, finance. We also talk about mental health, PTSD awareness. And a lot of brothers that I speak to, a lot of brothers don't want to go get help. So what are
Right.
your thoughts on going to see somebody professionally as a Black man?
Well, I think that's the machismo we have in our culture, right? So, especially young men, period, all over the world, but black men, you don't want to tell nobody that something is wrong, right? Because they're gonna laugh at you, they're gonna make fun of it, they're gonna make a joke, joke of the family. Remember back in the day, the uncles, he's crazy. My uncle probably was in World War I, World War II. He went through some things. He is crazy, but he needs help. But guess what? He didn't want to go get help because how he knew it would look to his family. So his only help was that brown paper bag, some drugs, women, abusing all these other things, right? So mental health is very big in my rhetoric. And when I started to raise my hand and say something was wrong, a trend of good soldiers and brothers said that Sergeant McIntyre could say something and he can go get help and he was the best soldier I knew, then we can do it too. So it just takes examples, right? Each one teach one. That's why I got my degree. I didn't need it. I retired the military. I could do nothing. I don't want to do nothing. But guess what? When I failed, a lot of us, what I'm saying, I failed in entrepreneurship. I failed in business as a veteran. So when I failed, I said, you know what? I need to understand business because a lot of us know hustling, but we don't know the language of business. We don't know ROIs. We don't know none of the pivots. We don't know nothing. So when I lost that again, I said I need to go learn business, and I went back to Kaiser, got my master's. I think that we just need some examples in our culture to say, hey, something is wrong. Like me, look at me. You know what I'm saying? You can make fun of me. I take that blunt, but guess what? I'm not going to do? I'm not going to go to sleep no more. No more nights when I'm crying myself to sleep. And I will say though, the help that you get will further you along. If you experience PTSD trauma from your childhood or military, it's not going away. You just got to know how to face it and understand and get in front of it. That's it.
And also, I see you're an author as well. You're an author, life coach. Obviously, you're a motivational speaker. At what point, though, did you decide that I can make this a business and establish generational wealth for my family?
When you wake up and realize that it's easy doing what you do, right? So I ventured off and did a lot of other different businesses. I was a top bodyguard, security. So I thought that was my calling because I did a lot of tactical stuff in the military. I was a 13 Fox. You know what I'm saying? I did 3 combat deployments, 2 mid team to Afghanistan. So I thought that okay, I can get out and be a bodyguard to some of these top rappers. I was a bodyguard for the Baby, Little Baby, Polo G, Ace the Youngin, all these people. I was. You can look it up, Google it. I had the top security company in the world until I failed. So it made me understand that hey, you know what? Use your voice now. You know what I'm saying? You're intelligent. When you speak, people listen to you. And I was a young NCO, non-commissioned officer, leading soldiers, young soldiers, into the war. So if I can do that and I can know that I'm comfortable with that, I can do this with my brand. And also what I did was I'm good at building brands. If you look at my security company, it was a brand. So I said, you know what? I erased all the people I had underneath me because they didn't help me when I failed. And I said, I put all that focus on myself. So you got to make sure that whatever God gives you and that's your gift, you got to activate it. And you know that's your gift when you wake up and you know it's easy. So I built my brand, I built my ecosystem. If you see my website, you go there. It's a funnel system. It's my life coaching, my motivational speaking. It's all my books on there, my school, SKOOL apps that I teach. It's my gear, all my clothes, my sketches that I make that's online for kids, my cartoons that's coming out in January, my podcast, Spotify and Apple. My Spotify and Apple just went out this week. So God is good. I recorded over 100 episodes, and I was just doing that for healing on YouTube. So I got found by Los Angeles Tribune because of how I speak, and they said, "Hey, how about we offer you this package deal?" And they signed me, and now all my episodes are going out now into the world, just like I manifested, just like I prayed for. So God is good.
Welcome to the podcast world, man. We definitely could use your voice, man. I'm glad you pulled up on Black Men Sundays. But like I said, man, we're a few days from the new year, man. Some brothers had a rough year. Some brothers, we all blessed because we still here and we breathing. But some brothers, from a business point of view, had a rough year financially. So they're looking to, be encouraged to do better in the new year. And then you have other brothers out here that are just really starting their financial journey as far as entrepreneurship. So what advice or what inspiration can you share with us?
I would say just stick with it. People say it's cliche that when you start your business 2 5 years that you won't see no revenue. I would tell you personally, um, I wasn't getting no type of revenue when I had my security company. My check that was coming to me was cycling back into the security company and it was paying all my employees, right? But God had it like that because I was getting my retirement. So I was able to be comfortable. But I would say, you know what, as your business and understand who you are, make sure that you take a step back, take a knee, and reevaluate it and pivot fast, pivot early. If it's not working, if it's not making you happy, if it's coming into a toxic situation that you don't want to do it no more, and it seems like it's still a hobby, I would say switch your craft. But if you love it and it's making you money, just stick with it, be a part of it, give it 100%. Because if you give 100% of what you got, God is going to give that back to you in return. It's guaranteed. To make money, you have to lose money. I know it sounds cliche, but you got to give out money, invest yourself for the money to come back. It's just like the world.
Cool. I'm gonna let my brother engage with you because I feel like I'm about to iris him. But on the back end, I'm gonna ask you about some of the services that you provide. Then I'm also gonna ask you about setting your prices and not and feeling comfortable with your prices. But I'll ask you that on the back end.
Hey man, how you doing? This is Kalali Dobe out of Calvert County, Maryland. How's everything for you, man?
Yes, sir. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. First and foremost, I want to thank you for spending some time to just talk to us and encourage us today. Really important. And then also, being former military, I definitely got to thank you for your service, man, for real.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
On Black Men Sunday, we always talk about generational wealth, generational paths, and different things like that. And you mentioned that, as you were military, you were in the military. Now your son is getting ready to go into the military.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
what kind of information are you sharing with your son to encourage him on his path? Perhaps make him, a more effective war fighter, or even just a more effective individual as he starts his journey. What information are you right now sharing with him, or if you haven't had that conversation with him yet, what would you like to share with him?
Well, we talk all the time, so
Yeah,
I don't I don't share any more information no more with him. I take him with me to certain things so he can see now. The generation of kids now they need to see, and I let people know all the time too. First of all, when we get in front of anybody or our youth, be the message that you bring. You know what I'm saying? Don't judge the messenger, look at the message, but also be the message. If I'm telling him, hey, I did this, that, and the third, and Daddy went here, 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 and I never wanted to be that type of person or that type of man that say, hey, back in my day, I did this. I know 60, 70-year-old guys that are still getting it cracking right now, and they still X, Y, and Z, they get it done, mind, body, soul. So I wanted to be that type of coach and leader and father to him that, hey, you know what, you're 19 now. This is what I used to do. The Army now is doing this, but also, hey, follow me here so I can show you and introduce you to a good set of veterans that you can have hope and that's going to make sure that you're doing the right thing.
That's what's up, man. Like I said, that's really all I have for you, man. Like I said, I appreciate your time, man. Seems like you got a really powerful message. You're doing some really powerful work, and I just want to encourage you to keep pushing on, man.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Definitely, man. So, as we're going into this new year, a lot of brothers have businesses, but I feel like a lot of brothers are always having to negotiate prices. Okay, I'm charged this for this service versus, well, I only have this. Can you do this? Like, what advice can you give for brothers that say, okay, this is my price, I'm sticking to it, but I don't want to come off like I'm being an ass about it. I don't want to come off disrespectful or rude, but I just want to be firm about my price.
Well, I had that hard time too doing that with all my businesses because I have a huge heart and I have a book coming out, a big heart. It's called A Good Heart Don't Pay Bills. So I would say is that for 4 years after my bankruptcy, I spoke for free, life coached, all these things I gave out. So I gave my product. It's like try fried rice, like going in the mall. They out in front of the store giving you free food so you can possibly pay for a plate that's $25, $15, whatever. So I was able to give my product out and show them that I'm gonna give you $1 million speech, $1 million coaching lesson, podcasting for free. Go tell somebody now. And what I did do was every stage I got on was an interview to get it on the next stage. So I used that. Now I am here. Now my prices now for my keynote speeches is 25,000 and up. For my speaking is $15,000 and up. For my life coaching, it's got different packages from $1,000 to $2,500. But at the end of the day, like I was scared to quote them prices because the people around me, right? So you have your circle of friends and family, even my frat, that people want discounts and they want it and they want to give it to you for free. They want you to give it to them for free or give it to them for little to nothing. I would say leave that situation, go blow up in another situation so they can see other people paying for your services. So when they come back and circle back to you, you know what I'm saying? There's no other thing but to do. And what I did do was, if you come to all my social medias, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, my website, you're gonna see my prices. I'm not hiding them. It is what it is. You know who you want. You know what I'm giving. I have to make a living. This is my brand, and I got people that's across the pond in Dubai, in Europe, in Africa, all these countries that are paying this money to me to come speak, while my friends in the United States can't do the same thing. Matter of fact, while my friends here in California or Florida or Georgia or New York can't do the same thing. Why my people that look like me, right? Now we're gonna zero down to a 10-digit grid square. Why we can't, as a community, as a culture, say, you know what? I endorse that, brother. Because when you do blow up, now you want to pay the prices, or now you want to say, I know you. No, pay me now because this is what I'm doing. And I will say, as a business, at a company, make sure you're putting out your best product. Make sure you understand. Don't put out no crap. Don't put out no BS. Put out the best product, just like you saw me in Orlando. I was there. I did what I had to do. You know what I'm saying? They took care of me. I took care of them. But at the end of the day, I got other speaking gigs that came after that because of how I handled myself. And you got to make sure that when you're doing your business, people are observing you and you're interviewing for the next process. You don't want to go up there and wet the bed, because if you do, your money stops. If people see you online and you look good online, but when they see you in person, you're not him or her. So you got to make sure that you take advantage of who you are, practice on your skill set, bring the message that you bring, whatever you're doing in life, whatever job it is. And when people are ready to pay, they will. So now I took pride in who I am. When you come to me and you ask me to do something, I'm going to tell you my prices. If you don't want me, it's okay, because this speaking world and life coaching world is an $8 billion industry. 0.1%. That's all I need. I'm not tripping.
Going back to what you were saying about the pricing, I always would hear, oh, well, you're my cousin or we're friends, let me get a discount. But I always felt the opposite. Like, if we're tight like that, give me a tip,
Hey,
give me some plus one, right? But I feel like, I don't know. So I just had to ask you that because that was on my heart the minute I knew I was talking to you today. I was like, man, I got to ask him that because when I
Right.
went online, I was like, man, I've heard people like afraid to advertise their business. Like people will come up to me with the business and they're shaking, they're nervous. And I'm like, bro, just relax. What are let's just talk about it. So I'm glad that I'm having this conversation with you on it, man. And as far as some other business tips, like you have multiple business, multiple income streams, far as generational wealth establishment, in from your point of view, how many income streams do you think that we need to have?
Well, people always say, when you don't learn business is, have 3 to 5, and that's okay. Make sure you build a brand. If you have a business, build a brand, and whatever you put underneath that brand is going to make money. Like I said, my podcast on Spotify just got released this Monday, right? So now they didn't even do my promote. They didn't do my promo. My promo is not until January. But when you come to my page, I have my clothes. I have my life coaching prices. I have my podcast. I have my speaking engagement. I have my cartoons that I have. I have my sketches. I have everything underneath there. So when you're sleeping, YouTube is monetizing. People are planning. They're backwards planning. They're trying to add you to their budget instead of coming to you and say, hey, we want you, but we see you don't do this. I would say, as a business owner and an entrepreneur and someone that failed in business, have all that laid out. So if a company come and sign you, they know what you could provide. Have a product, right? Some of these people, they go viral online, but they don't have a product to follow up. I got my books online. I got 2 more books coming out. I got all these things that you come to my website, and I'm here. You know what I'm saying?
As far as establishing businesses with multiple streams, would you recommend that person as far as like setting up their bank account? Should they
Yeah.
set it up under that one, or should they set each stream under each own business account?
Well, I would say the one that weighs the heaviest, you give that its own entity. And the other ones that are trickling in, you put it in another. So you can be accountable. Now, when it's all even and catching up, just merge it together because at the end of the day, you know what's speech money, you know what's coach money, you know what's clothing money, every quarter I get a check for Spotify and Apple. So you know when that hit. So all these things, that's funneling in. And if you're a veteran and are you retired, I will say this: the check that they give you, you're not supposed to live off that. So I would say make sure now when you're making enough money, put that away and let that sit. Now, if you let that sit for 12 months turn into 5 years, look how much money you have now. So that's money on the side that you never have. That's guaranteed. And then the money that you are making and running these laps with, now you can make sure that you're accountable and make sure you have a CPA. Make sure you understand your books.
So one thing that I've noticed on this podcast, we've had a lot of guests come on, a lot of successful business owners, all types of different flavors, and everybody in this financial conversation, the conversation always turns to faith. So let me ask you, when we're going through your difficult times, how has faith kept you uplifted to get you to the success level that you're at now?
My father taught me at a young age how to pray. My dad got saved when I was like 10 or 11 years old. I'm 44 now. He's a bishop, so he taught me how to pray. So I knew at my hardest times, even when I was in combat, to pray when it's good and when it's pray when it's worse. Right. So I pray all the time every morning. I might pray multiple times a day, but God should be a part of your business. What we don't know is that sometimes these businesses that we started, God never gave us that gift. That's not our gift. We doing it because it looks good or social media is trending or somebody else is doing it. God has a gift for everybody. You got to know when to activate it. And you know when you're using your gift when it's easy. So when it's easy for you to get up and say, I want to be on this podcast today. I can't wait to be on here. I can't wait to coach. I got 15 clients. I can't wait to speak. My calendar already in January and February and March is already filled. That feels good to me instead of struggling to get me on these stages or get me in these booths and all these things. You know that, you know what, God, this is my prayer. This is what I need. This is what I want. I done planted these seeds for 4 years for free. Now it's harvest time and it's game time. So you know that already. So God is a big part of my business plan. And if he don't ordain it, don't go forth with it.
But that's what I'm talking about, man. And for the brothers and sisters that want to link up with you, how can they, follow you on social media, different platforms?
The Hood Motivator on Instagram, THA Hood Motivate, MOTIVATOR. Same on TikTok, on YouTube the same, and then my website is thehoodmotivator.com. I will give that to you. If you go into my website, you can find everything I'm doing, from Spotify to Apple to YouTube to coaching to motivational speaking to my books to my cartoons to my sketches.
Yes, sir. So Jr. McIntyre, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I know you're busy because I remember when I
Yeah,
met you at the Excel Summit. I was like, "Are you
yeah.
gonna be here tomorrow?" You was like, "Oh no, I'm already out." I was like, "Okay, this brother's about his business, man." And then I started following you, checking it all out, man. So again, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on Black Men Sundays, showing us some
Thank you.
love. Kicking,
Yeah.
because like I said, we only a few days from the new year, man. So I appreciate all the motivation you gave us, my brother, and enjoy your
Yes.
year.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you guys again for bringing me on. And let's work together in 2026. I'm here. You know what I'm saying?
It's a Black Man Sunday. Time to put all childish things away. I refuse to be the man I was yesterday. Gotta put my best